Okay, this screencast is going to be about using the GMU digital libraries to do research for this course. In this particular course, you will be searching for 8 to 10 intervention research articles. That means each of the articles that you include in your results section of your literature review paper need to have, they all need to be studies using an intervention in an area of interest. So a lot of you, I've given you some time to think about what you want your topic to be and post here as we start the second module. And based on the topic idea you have, you'll start looking for intervention studies in that area. And what that means is you have to find a study that was done by researchers with participants, and those articles should have a method section, a results, and a discussion. You can use literature reviews, you can use meta-analysis, but you can use them in the introduction. For your paper, you do need actual intervention studies. Okay, so how would you find these studies? I recommend you go to academics and then go to university libraries. There's several ways to get to the databases, so if you use a slightly different way, that is fine. Okay, then I scroll down and I go to Digital Library Resources because you will never have to go on campus for this type of research nowadays. When you get to this page, think to highlight if you have questions for the librarian. You can always click on Ask a Librarian. And a lot of times our educational librarian will be in there answering questions. But we have some specific databases that you will be using specifically for the assignment for this module called the Library Scavenger Hunt. You'll use Education Research Complete, PsycInfo, and then I believe it's Social Sciences Index. So since PsycInfo is pretty popular and it's had recently a change in its interface, I'm going to click on PsycInfo. You can either type in database search, the one you're looking for. You can do it by a letter, so I would go to P, or you can do it by topic, which is education in this case. So the second hit is PsycInfo here. And if you haven't used the databases before, then this will look new. You will put in the first part of your Mason email and then your password. And I think this one has the wrong one saved in for me, so I will type my password in. If you are on campus, you don't need to log in. It will know that you're on Mason ground. But if you're not on Mason campus, then it will ask you to log in using the same password for your email. Okay, so even though this is PsycInfo, some people, they just changed the interface this semester, were confused with an earlier section of this class that started. Even though it's PsycInfo, it will say AP PsycNet, okay, and it will say the American Psychological Association. If you see this interface, you are in the right place. The other thing to know is that in your library scavenger hunt, it will ask you to use the APA thesaurus. For a long time in PsycInfo, this was called the Term Finder. So they just changed this to APA Thesaurus. So when you go to search, I recommend you keep your searches broad to start with. I'm interested in math disabilities, so I might search math disabilities. And then a few other things that are important to click. For this class, you definitely want to use peer-reviewed journal articles. So I would click peer-reviewed. Then in terms of dates, if you have a topic other than reading, you'll want to search 2000 to 2017. If you are doing a topic in reading specifically, you'll want to search 2005 to the present. Okay, so because there's so much reading research out there, you even want to be more current. So let's search now just based on those minimal, the search term math disabilities, peer-reviewed, and the date range, and see how many I get. Now right now it says I have 572. So I'm going to edit my search. You want probably a couple hundred, but 572 is a little bit too many. So I might say, let me try algebra. And we'll see how that narrows my search. Now that only narrows me to 15. Some of you will be like, oh wow, that's just enough because we need 8 to 10. But actually I want a few more than that because I will throw some out, just based on the perspective I'm taking on my topic. So let's get a little broader term. Secondary level math. Ooh, that narrowed it even more for 12. So let me just take out the word level. 31, that's not a huge amount of articles, but I could start with that because remember I only need 8 to 10. If I wanted to take it out and make it a few more, I could modify my topic. I could look at the thesaurus and I could say, what's another term maybe I'll say for algebra? And we can go here and see. A broader term would be word problems. Okay, so let's say I'm interested, word problems are important. So let's say, hey, I'd like to search word problems versus the more specific term of algebra. Let's see how many hits I get with that. Okay, it's around a similar number as when I did secondary. So I might say a specific skill in algebra. Let's say I say equations. Wow, that was too specific. As you can see, you've really got to play with the search terms to get the appropriate number of articles. Like I said, you could start with 33 or 50 some. That would probably give you enough for this particular search. It is typically good though for the purposes of what you need to do to pull about 100 to 200. So let me see if I can narrow at all to get between those two numbers. Let's see. Let me say high school. Okay, so 85 is a really decent number. So let me look at these articles I have here. Now with each one, the title is active, so you can click on it. And when you click on it, a couple things to know. It will give you the abstract. From this abstract, you will generally be able to tell if it is an intervention study, or at least a study. If it is a study, it should say to you N equals or participants equal. And when I'm reading here, I do not see that. So I would have to actually pull the article and read some of it. But if it says like the number of participants, then you're usually pretty solid that this is an intervention study because it's telling you how many people participated. Okay, I'm trying to think, is there other things that you should know? When it tells you the source, for whatever reason, if you can't pull the full text, which I believe you can here because it has a DOI. If for any reason you couldn't pull that full text, I'm just making sure it's pulling it for you. You could click and see where that source is, and then you could actually, I'll go back to the start page and show you how you could go directly to the journal. And that one says it's Journal of Learning Disabilities, so we'll use that one as our example there. Okay, and it gives you a lot of information, okay, on the article. And for instance, this is really important information for ancestry and descendant search. In PsycInfo, if you click on references, it will tell you that there's 23 citations displayed here. And it will tell you for each of these how many people cited these particular articles. So when you're checking the reference list, like this is the reference list for this article. When you search the reference list of an article, it's an ancestry search because all of these articles were published before the article you were reading. So they're ancestors. When it says here, this is the reference, this article was cited by one person, then that's a descendant search. If you clicked on this, it will tell you who cited that article. And this would be a descendant article if you're interested in finding one using a descendant search. that might be valuable to you. Because again, if it's an ancestor article, if it came before it or if it came after it and it was either cited by in the reference list or in future publications cited your target article, which is a descendant article, they're valuable resources because all the research is connected. If you are doing ancestry and descendant research. If you still have questions, use your tasks, look up ancestry and descendant searches. Okay. Like I said, most of these will have full text, especially if they have a DOI. You just click on the link and it will take you to there. Some of them will have a PDF. Actually, most of these have a DOI. If you don't see it, you can click on Mason link or open access because then it will take you right there as well. So it doesn't always have to have a DOI. I'm just trying to see if any have a PDF here. And let's just click on one of these and let's see. No, this is a DOI. So sometimes you'll see a little red PDF symbol and it will be a PDF, but I'm not seeing any here. So it can take a couple different formats. Very, very, very occasionally you have to go back, like I'm going to do here in a second. So occasionally when you find an article, it won't be full text and you will have to do a search in the journal. And one of the ones we had pulled was for Journal of Learning Disabilities. Oops, I went a little bit too far back here. Hold on one second. So we'll go back to GMU and we will go to the libraries again. Oop, it does not want to stay down for me here. And when we do that, and we go to the online, oops, we don't really actually want to click on that one. Hold on a second. It's getting a little click happy there. Let's try this again. We'll go to University Libraries. And we actually want to go to Digital Library Resources. Now, for this particular one, notice it says Databases by Title. It has a lot of databases. You can go to the eJournal Finder. And one of our articles was Journal of Learning Disabilities. Oops. And that one we would need to actually pull. So we would go to the different sources. These are all the different sources of that particular journal. And we have to make sure it covers the years that we're interested in. So the publication was a pretty recent publication. So I would probably choose Sage Premier because it goes all the way from 1999, which is before the parameters of your search, up through the present. So that's probably where I would search for the article. And when you pull that up, it will have, this is your particular journal, Journal of Learning Disabilities. You could browse all issues if you're looking for a specific issue, and it will show you the different issues. Usually you have to click on the year, and then it will pull up the different issues. And that's how you find it based on the citation that was in the database. Now, a lot of times you won't have to do this and go actually to the journal, so I'm just showing you as a just in case. The three you'll be using in this class is probably a lot of Educational Research Complete, Social Sciences Index, and PsycInfo. Most databases operate pretty much the same way. You type in the search term, you click on peer reviewed, and you limit your years. And that's how I would start. If you find you're finding too many hits, then I would put some more layers of search terms in there. If you're not getting enough, I would open your terms and make them more broad. Hopefully this has helped in terms of navigating a little bit of the online databases and journals. If you have questions, just let me know.